Give it up for Adam Harvey! Hi, nice to see you. How you doing? Come over here, try to face you.
I feel like Ed McMahon here. I gotta let you sit down first.
How you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
Okay.
All right.
This is weird. Oh, I'm mic'd.
Oh, there he is.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Say hello to Adam Harvis. So Adam, you're a New Yorker. You went to City Ed School.
Yes.
I know you moved to LA for a little while and you came back to New York now. Why
Yes.
New York and not LA?
Because New York's the best. It's nice out there in California. It's nice, but sometimes you need a change of scenery. So like I sort of went out there and it was nice, and then 7 years later I was like, wow, I'm still here, so I had to come home.
It's a long time, 7 years.
Yeah.
So how did growing up in New York shape you creatively and personally?
That's a good question. I grew up downtown in the Village in Manhattan, so it was, it's a creative neighborhood. So I guess it was just everywhere. You couldn't help it. And my dad's a writer, my mother was an artist, and just creativity all over the place, so I'm pretty lucky.
And I know it infiltrated your music too, because some of your songs start off with the sound of a train screeching, and a lot of your lyrics are about where you're from and
Yeah,
who
because you walk around the city and you hear all of this stuff, and it's a part of, part of life, so it should be part of your music, because music is part of your life, and blah, 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 and all that stuff.
So you became pretty insanely rich and famous at a very young age, pretty much at the age most of these kids are right now. How did you deal with it blowing up like that when you were just young?
I didn't deal with it so good, to be honest. Well, we were just talking back there, when it happens really fast, and all of a sudden you go from not having any money, and then you have a lot of money. And it's interesting the things you can get yourself into.
Yeah.
Did you buy any special presents for yourself?
The first thing I did when, the first time I ever got money, I went and I bought something like $600 worth of groceries and put it all in my mom's, me and my mom's house.
Well, that's nice, right? So again, noting the age of people in our studio, can you tell us like a medium crazy story in your history of being a Beastie Boy? Something from tour?
Weird things happen to you when you're with your friends, and when we started playing, we were playing for years, and it was the only people that come to see us play was just our friends and family. And then it got to be this bigger thing, and then a huge thing, and then when it's a huge thing, weird things happen. An example, I was at a party in LA and Axl Rose came up to me and was like, hey, you guys should stop ripping off Led Zeppelin. Like, imagine you're somewhere and Axl Rose comes up to you and starts talking to you. That's how weird it gets when...
Yeah.
But I remember, see, I'm from, I guess, your generation. I'm in my 30s. And I remember...
30-something.
30, but I remember from, the Run DMC and going to hearing your first album.
License to Ill.
License to Ill.
Yes.
And you guys were wild, and you guys used to really, really perform and talk about, scream about these wild things. It seems like you've mellowed out a whole lot. So has there been a progression in your albums of what you rap about in your albums from back in the 80s to now? Yeah,
like, if you live your life, and like I was, I guess you could say I was kind of wild, when I was at City As, and if you stay wild, that's kind of sad.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? If you see like the 35-year-old knucklehead, kind of sad.
Yeah,
so
well,
you got to change, and you have to think, introspectively and outward, and all of these things.
So, are there anything happened in your life that made you turn, or any point in your life that made you turn and realize that the world is just a little bit more serious than the Beastie Boys, so to speak, or what they were about back in those days? Like, what was that turning point that made you realize that, I have to kind of make a turnaround here?
I don't know if it was one specific thing. I mean, maybe it was, the Gulf War. Maybe it was just being, open to, it doesn't happen one day, but, when you start seeing things in perspective and you start seeing that the world is a bigger place than what you're doing, then things turn around. And then, yeah.
No, but, because the whole experience, and those kids are maybe a generation removed from our generation, maybe. Just trying to make the connection for them and give them some insight to where they can be moving towards?
Well, I would go to my, resources during the day, and then at night go play shows, and then weekends work at the ice cream store or whatever.
So it's
And
cool.
my boss was a City Ad student.
Oh, cool.
Oh. I think what we're trying to say here is that you guys can find something that you like now, and you might find yourself doing it years and years and years from now. Is that sort of succinct on what we're just talking about?
But you know that. You got to know that. That what you're into now could be the future of what you're doing. Like your hobby can be your profession. And that's the beautiful thing. Like when your hobby becomes the thing that pays your rent, then you got it made.